the HuffPost is reporting that a third teen worker, and I'm sure there are many more since and before, has been killed in an industrial accident. And states try to loosen child labor laws. So this 16-year-old boy died in Mississippi, and that was after 2 other minors died on the job in Missouri and Wisconsin. Now, this kid in Mississippi was 16, died in a poultry plant, a Mar-Jack poultry plant. He was cleaning the machinery as part of the sanitation crew and became trapped in the equipment on a conveyor belt. And he died. Now, if you're wondering, this kid is Guatemalan. He moved here 6 years ago. And a lot of these states are lowering the age of working age in order to exploit the most vulnerable kids, which happen to be new arrivals, migrants, whatnot. But 2 other kids that this article is referring to, those are white kids.
Yep.
White kids from Wisconsin. A guy named Michael Schulz, a boy named Michael Schulz, who was 16, attempted to unjam a wood stacking machine and became pinned under the machinery on a conveyor belt. There we go. Will Hampton, 16, poor kid, died in Missouri, Lee's Summit, Missouri, after becoming injured while working at a Lee's Summit Resource Recovery Park landfill. So whatever, sanitation. He's working at a landfill. The sophomore in high school became pinned between a tractor trailer rig and its trailer. So like,
God,
this shit is wild. Like these industrial, because these aren't.
Wow.
What?
Greatest country in the world.
Yeah, it's a beautiful country. We love children. I mean, have more of them so they can die on a conveyor belt. Oh my God. Like it.
How many kids have died at drag shows over the last years? Just hundreds, I'm sure.
Countless. I mean, truly.
It's just the idea that they hire them specifically because they're smaller and so they can fit into the crawl spaces of these machines, so that apparently they're not even thinking to turn off, because God forbid they turn off the machines while they're being repaired, because you could lose like 35 cents of revenue.
Right. It's cheaper to kill a kid.
No. But it's straight up though, right?
Yeah.
Like that's exactly
Insurance.
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like isn't there an immediate shut off or like you I don't know shit about shit, but I do know if I stick my hand in an elevator door, it's not going to close on it. Like, is that not basic practice?
Well, rich people use elevators. So.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So, of course, every time you talk about children working, and especially 16, right? What happens? Some fucking boomer or Gen Xer or just like person who hates life.
Yeah.
Not that there's any correlation, but
I hate life.
Exactly. We hate life too. It's always like, I had my first job at 16. It's important. It teaches good work ethic. Like, no. I absolutely not. That is like, yeah, man, I fucking worked at a Crate and Barrel. Okay. You know, I wasn't like blowing the glass.
Right.
I wasn't working in the factories of Crate and Barrel. I was like, doing a bad job at the register. Okay. Like there's a difference between being a lifeguard for a summer and fucking working these industrial jobs
that are being surrounded by animal bones. Yeah. It's not the same shit.
No,
I swept up at the local drugstore when I was in middle school. I wasn't sticking my head in a cauldron of molten lava.
Yeah. No, so obviously these are all workarounds. They're disgusting. And it's the same excuse as always, which is there's a labor shortage, even though we're experiencing like an incredible like employment numbers, Bidenomics really working out for everyone. Do not criticize Biden on my show. But in Wisconsin, which is where one of these kids actually did die, lawmakers are now advocating lowering the age to serve a little bit less industrial of a job, serve alcohol in bars and restaurants to 14. Now, right now, apparently at 16, kids can serve. I believe it's 18 or 16. Let's see. Okay.
Bars?
Yes. You can work at a restaurant at 14, but for bars, they're saying it could be as young as 4. Imagine being served a cocktail by a fucking 14-year-old.
Are we past the statute on limitations for this? Because that was my first job.
Bar in a bar. I mean,
no.
Restaurant.
So
I know.
It was a local annual event that happens, and there would be people who would volunteer, but we'd get paid essentially to usually do shirts and concessions and things like that. But there were some places where the beer was sold at the concession stand,
right?
And they just didn't do the right thing. So yeah, I still
how did that make
you
feel?
I don't like Tecate to this day. I don't like Tecate at all. Of course, we took a sip, but like, no, real talk. I don't. On a broad level, we should be working towards having it so people can have living wages off of these jobs. And they say, oh, well, you're just a high schooler, you don't need a living wage. You're not helping your argument when people say that. But we also, I think, maybe this is the hottest take, we just kind of over glorify things like alcohol in this country that are readily available, and that we kind of don't mind having minors around sometimes that can be like very destructive, and there's all these different drunk driving incidents and things like that. So I would feel a lot more comfortable if we had, okay, if you can't drink it, maybe you shouldn't serve it. Like that seems like a really fair, reasonable way to have it.
Well, I am a bar connoisseur. That's the way I say it. But not at the meetings, but I am a bar connoisseur. Yeah. And I would be, just imagine you're coming off a long, hard day of manual labor before you go home to the kids. You just want to, you want your Sam Malone to tell your troubles to, and it's a 16-year-old kid. It's ruined. This is the degradation of bars in this country is not talked about enough.
They can't a 14-year-old. Yeah, a 14-year-old can't small talk.
Right.
About like
going, yeah, I dated a girl in middle school once too. Reminds me of her. Like what?
Yeah, well,
he takes a drag off a candy cigarette. Yeah, man. Life's rough. I get it.
Well, I crushed up some sweet tarts. Want to come snort with me in the back?
It's like I would. First of all, I'm sorry, but I don't trust a 14-year-old to mix my cocktail. Number one, and I know we're not necessarily talking about mixing. We're just talking about like serving. But also, okay, let me just. Here's a different angle on this. These are largely red states where they are so fucking focused on drag shows or somehow transgender people living their goddamn lives. Somehow they are victimizing and targeting children and sexualizing kids. Now, let me ask you, what's one of the jobs in which you get sexually harassed more than any other job? Yeah, being a waitress, especially a cocktail waitress, especially serving people drinks.
Especially in the middle of the country, especially underage.
Yeah,
exactly. So I'm just saying, like, these are the same states that are like, we should lower the age. It doesn't matter. Go ahead. I mean, Wisconsin, whatever, arguably a swing state. I'm like, oh, cool. So you're going to have like little kids serve. It's just so bad. It's so good.
Safety. I started comedy in Chicago. I know Wisconsin bars. It's a dangerous place for kids to work. The amount of drinking and fighting that goes on,
and cheese,
and cheese alone.
That being said,
Chuck E. Cheese in the Midwest is actually just like Waffle House Jr.
It kind of is.
Learn them young.
I will say Wisconsin has the Wisconsin Old Fashioned, which is probably one of my favorite drinks, which is just an old fashioned, but with brandy. So if a 14-year-old, it's sweeter. It's expensive, but it's sweeter. It's man. If a 14-year-old gave me Hennessy in a glass, I'd have to drink it, like just out of respect. So
maybe in Europe.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, what's this country come to? What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/bitchuationroom. Do it.